Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you, ma'am, for the smallest introduction. Actually, in this connected world, it only takes you 3.5 seconds to know anybody, and whether you know or not, the amount of profiling that has been made for each one of us and the hockey-stick growth of emerging technology in all sectors, it does not take even a second to triangulate you for a satellite. Earlier, satellites used to triangulate somebody to a certain area, say in few kilometers, then it became few 100 meters. After that, it became some few square meters. Now it has been only 5.5 square feet. That is the triangulation anybody can be done, So that's why no one needs, introduction. So the moment somebody comes upon a stage, you actually, take a snap, allow the computer vision to do the rest. In 3.5 seconds, he is before you. So thank you, ma'am, for the smallest introduction. Today morning, when I was with my, brother-in-law, I had the opportunity. Thank you, ma'am, once again. By inviting me, you gave me the opportunity to actually meet one of my relatives also. So that's a great thing. I'll just take 1 minute out of that. So we were talking about this democratization of social values, and then we understood that, after this call for localization in having local resource for local organizations in Karnataka, which created a lot of furor. So how could a domicile certificate help somebody? You'll find that for all our children, for ourselves and for other things, we people from government, we issue domicile certificates without knowing anybody, Madam would recommend somebody, he would come to me, and with that recommendation I will give the domicile certificate, and that will be accepted. Why don't you ask Google? Because what is the definition of a domicile certificate? For the last 6 months, where you are staying on an average, that actually starts with your domicile standard. So Google knows you for the rest of last 24 years. So wherever you were, how much time you spent and all. So we should actually open an API, consume the API from them through a web service, and give a domicile certificate on the fly. There is no need for a domicile certificate, spending a lot of money on verification. So coming to that, how could we really understand that, as someone is actually coming from a certain background? That too is called, social audit. Whether the quality of road is good or bad. Even if you want to actually, tell government that the road in front of my house is not good, and if that phone call comes to you at a very disturbing point of time during the day when you are busy with something, explaining or understanding that things are not going correct, even if that actually ails you every day, you would not answer that. So it is far better to actually find out solutions, to audit every aspect of our social life. So as I'm talking about all these things, I will try to actually, come into the issue that I was discussing with ma'am over the last 2 days, what to speak here. and I would like to speak on a specific topic which you might not have been, talking about for a long period of time, and you would be actually faced with in the next 5-10 years of your life, be it AI, cybersecurity. But I would start with, the thing that there in the first presentation, AI talked about trust. When AI talked about trust, AI is especially becoming, sentient. But in cybersecurity, you talk about zero trust. So you would like AI to talk about zero trust. How could AI trust? Is AI human? If AI is human, then we would definitely think about it in a different manner. So I would like to talk to you about exposure management. Can you tell me, I hope 16 minutes is enough for me, can you tell me how did we actually fight COVID? Anybody? What was the methodology? Because all these solutions came much later. How did we do that? Sir, कोई भी बताइए कैसे किया हमने? बस 2 गज की दूरी है ना, हमने मास्क पहनना चालू किया. मास्क से क्या हुआ? हम लोग बचे नहीं, दूसरों को बचाए. Even if I am carrying the germ or the virus, I am preventing you not to get affected from me. Keeping myself hygienated, I am not only preventing me, but I am preventing you. Because I don't know whether I am carrying the virus or not. It was not possible. अच्छा आप बताइए तो वो जो क्या टेस्ट होता था, RT-PCR? That was the test, no? So if at this very moment my RT-PCR is negative, है ना, तो इसी मोमेंट में मुझे कोविड नहीं है, लेकिन अगले मोमेंट में हो सकता है. We talk about security audit, no? Do you know it is not at all security audit? It is called security assessment. There are 2 types of assessment. One is WASA, Web Application Security Assessment. Another is ISA, Infrastructure Security Assessment. Because it is not an audit on 31st of March. It is not an audit like that. It is audit assessment of that very instant, just like RT-PCR. So if it says negative, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि मुझे कोविड नहीं है. उसी क्षण मुझे कोविड नहीं था. Every device has multiple vulnerabilities, and we bring out common vulnerability exposure reports. Have you read that? Most of you have read. ब्लू स्क्रीन वाली जो चीज हुई उस दिन में हुआ था ना माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में. What was the reason? What was the RCA root cause analysis? कैसे हुआ था? Somebody? नहीं, कैसे हुआ था? कैसे? पैच के पीछे क्या था? नहीं सर, एक इंटर्न ने पैच को छोड़ दिया था फॉर अपडेशन. जिन्होंने अपडेट की दे वेंट डाउन, जिन्होंने नहीं किया वो बच गए. वेरी सिंपल. एंड यू नो इन द होल वर्ल्ड इंडियंस अपडेट ऑन द फ्लाई because most of our devices are set up on auto update. I started my career as a block development officer and I saw that जो चावल उगाना सबसे आसान सी बात है. इसलिए क्योंकि उसमें सबसे कम एफर्ट लगता है. तो ऑटो अपडेट सबसे कम एफर्ट है. तो कॉमन वल्नरेबिलिटी एक्सपोजर क्या है? एक डिवाइस या एप्लीकेशन में वल्नरेबिलिटी क्या है, लेकिन वो नहीं है सिर्फ. द इश्यू इज कंप्लीटली अपॉन द एक्सपोजर. द वल्नरेबिलिटी इज ओवरटली स्टेस्ड अपॉन. एक्सपोजर साइलेंटली क्लीन्स. इफ वी डू यूज मास्क, 2 गज की दूरी, सैनिटाइजेशन ऑफ एप्लीकेशन डिवाइसेस, हम बच सकते हैं. बेहतर है इसमें. All vulnerabilities are not exposures, and similarly all exposures are not vulnerabilities, but they are clubbed together. अब CVE रिपोर्ट में सिर्फ बात होती है vulnerability की, वो vulnerability रहते हुए भी आप कैसे उसको बंद करें, एक्सपोज ना करें, उसके बारे में एक लाइन भी लिखा नहीं होता. Go back and read about any CV and come back to me. My numbers are there. I am profiled. Google बता पाएगा आपको. आप फोन करके मुझे बताइए. CV में एक्सपोजर के बारे में लिखा हुआ है नहीं. As soon as you receive a CVE, you have two choices. You need to have a walk around, घूम के जाना है, और नहीं तो आपको solution निकलना है. That solution comes much later. तब तक बहुत कुछ खत्म हो जाता है. So that's why intrusion detection के बाद हम क्या करते हैं, क्वारंटाइन कैसे करते हैं? We actually detach the network from the machine, the very first thing that we do, है ना? बंद नहीं करने का है, नेटवर्क को अलग करना है. So endpoint security is actually an end of an era. Why? Till the new millennia, endpoints ruled. आपने देखा Y2K के बारे में, आपको याद है? You remember Y2K, sir? I was a block development officer in a place called Nayagram. I thought on the 31st of 1999, 31st December, कि अगले दिन मेरी कंप्यूटर नहीं चलेगी. लेकिन ये चला, because it was not connected. Y2K बग के बारे में आप अगर जाकर के फिर से पढ़ना चालू करें, it could have been easily attended, and it was easily attended when we understood that the issue was only with network and connection. Standalone machines could have been solved easily, and we solved, and we got ourselves prevented. Rise of social media ushering in redundancy in connectivity actually end of an era कर दिया है endpoint security को. So the skyrocketing, increase in the connected device. Every one of us is is having 3 to 4 connected devices with our body. आप गाड़ी का फॉब ले लीजिए, मोबाइल फोन ले लीजिए, आपके टैब ले लीजिए, आपके ब्लूटूथ ईयर प्लग ले लीजिए, सभी कनेक्टेड डिवाइसेस हैं. और एवरी कनेक्टेड डिवाइस इज अ सोर्स फॉर वल्नरेबिलिटी. कितने को आप बचाएंगे? हाउ मेनी एंटीवायरसेस, एंटी स्पैमवेयर, एंटी मैलवेयर आप खरीदेंगे? हाउ मेनी? एंड कितना उसको आप कंटिन्यूअसली अपडेट करते जाएंगे? बिकॉज विदाउट अपडेशन they don't have any value. That is the fine prints with which you actually bought it. So peripheral security is the new game changer that we are seeing right now. Don't take me otherwise, my dear friend, from both this Nutanix and not Nutanix, Security. Firewall, Sandbox, Honeypot, SIEM, SOAR, EDR, MDR, XDR, all these things are peripheral devices, be it a physical device or an application device. They are costly and we are using them because we don't want ourselves to be actually skilled in knowledge. And that's why we are allowing them to take care of our security. Yes, we need them, but we need them with the knowledge how to manage them. I definitely want to live up to that day when I will buy a solution and run that solution myself. Just like I buy a car and I run the car. Most of us allow those solutions to be guided or managed or run by third parties, because security is just like a pocket sewn from outside. It is not inside the design. So what is my talk about? Peripheral security की downside देख लीजिए. How many of you can create an IPsec tunnel? Just raise your hands. कितने हैं? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Out of how many? Say 80 or 70. How many of you can, bind your MAC ID, device MAC ID with the router? How many? उठाइए, device router. 12, 14, 15. क्यों सब नहीं? ये दोनों तो सिर्फ बहुत आसान है. You can just Google it and find out and do it yourself. Even in your homes. Why don't you bind all your devices with the MAC ID of your devices with the router? किसी को आपका पासवर्ड पता भी चले कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. They can't access your device. They can take your, they can actually hack into your router and use your internet, but they cannot come into your device. A simple solution है. क्यों नहीं करते? Because security is strewn from outside. जरूरत पड़े तो बाहर से एक जेब सिला लीजिए. Absolutely, sir.
That is one of the main problems. And when employee leaves, this was the second point. So I did review and I came to know that there were like people who left nearly in 6 months around 15 people and around few hundred guests. I said first change the Wi-Fi password.
The password up changed.
तो वो change करने के बाद second point was the mic banding.
Absolutely, sir.
I said mic banding means I know who is allowed to access and why not, sir. If tomorrow if he says the password to somebody, nobody can do anything.
तो आज के सभी को सीख हो गई. पीओसी देख लीजिए, मैंने बताया सर ने पीओसी दे दिया. हर एक को जाकर के करना है. Everyone must go back home, find out from the Vimeo or YouTube how to bind the MAC ID of your devices with your routers, and please do it. Find out how to create a IPsec tunnel. जब छोटे थे हम तो घर में जब बाहर से पापा मम्मी की गेस्ट आते थे और वो बात करते थे तो हमने क्या करते थे, वो तो हमारे साथ दे वुड नॉट गिव अस इंपॉर्टेंस, अटेंशन नहीं देते थे. उनके बच्चे और मैं, हम दोनों जाकर के एक चादर ओढ़ के अपने अंदर में बात करते थे उनके सामने बैठ के. सो दैट इज VPN. एंड हाउ स्ट्रांग इज दैट VPN? जितना स्ट्रांग वो चादर है, जितना स्ट्रांग उसका रेयन है, जितना स्ट्रांग उसका कोड है. इसीलिए VPN इज फुद्दू. VPN does not have any value. Why don't you actually create IPsec tunnel and talk to, between peer and peer? Very simple. क्यों नहीं करते? Because वही फिर से बात है, बाहर से कोई सिला के देगा. My child, but will be reared by others. That is the security for you, my dear friends. So, lack of qualified manpower. NASSCOM says, in 2020 you would require 25 lakh qualified manpower. आज की तारीख में 2 लाख भी नहीं है. जो भी है हमारा लड़का भी बाहर जा रहा है. उनको बहुत प्यार से मैंने साइबर सिक्योरिटी में लाया था, वो चला जा रहा है. आप हो सके तो रोक दीजिए उनको. एंड इवन इफ दे आर हियर, दे आर वर्किंग फॉर फॉरेन पावर्स, फॉरेन कंपनीज. दे आर नॉट वर्किंग फॉर MSMEs. तो कौन देगा MSME को सपोर्ट? कैसे मिलेगा उनको? इतनी कॉस्टली सिम कौन देगा? हाउ कुड MSME एक्चुअली use a SIM? बताइए ना सर. Only one way, that is called knowledge. Only one way, that is called knowledge. आज की तारीख में कोई भी स्टार्टअप ऐसा नहीं है. I mentor, I have been mentoring startups for the last 7-8 years. I mentor 2-3 startups all through. तो कोई भी स्टार्टअप राजी नहीं है कोई भी साइबर सिक्योरिटी सॉल्यूशन इस्तेमाल करने के लिए. Why? They are costly. And it is better to have a better coder, better developer, better, solution provider, a problem statement creator. So I'll go to the, by that point, if you actually get to, sir, फिर से आप जब जाएंगे, अगर if your router is in a public place, तो सर आप किसी को बोलिएगा the OSs, the operating softwares with which the devices, mobile devices are coming, आपको categorize करने के लिए. How many of them are, Android? How many of them are iOS? How many of them? You will find lots and lots of, undefined OS, and they are, my dear friends, from our neighbors, northern neighbors. ठीक है ना? So that's why I said versatile OS. And the last but important thing is MADP, Multiple Application Development Platform. हर एक दिन नया नया प्लेटफॉर्म आ रहा है और वो सभी एप्लीकेशन को लेते हैं. And they are all contiguous sets. So exposure management what? It looks beyond endpoints, assesses risk landscape, network analysis on the go, exposure of access, not of endpoints. And piggyback protector. I was astonished to find out while coming from Powai to this place, every big building or बड़े बड़े जितने भी कंपनियां हैं उसके बाहर सब फिजिकल सिक्योरिटी बैठे हुए हैं. They are not required because none of those offices would have a single rupee in cash. तो किस लिए वो बैठे हैं? तोड़ने के लिए तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी है, तोड़ने दीजिए, दिक्कत क्या है? सीसीटीवी है, they will pay. It is high time we actually upskilled them to become them, make them cyber security card so that they can help us. Exposure management, why? Because it is the asset that is being exposed, and asset means application and infrastructure. Risk prioritization is the most important thing. Criticality and impact wise, holistic view होनी चाहिए, internal and external, preemptive mitigation. जैसे during pandemic, every elevator company made loss, but ThyssenKrupp made profit because they had collected data for the last 10 years and they started preventive maintenance since 2018. So that's why during pandemic they did not send anybody to any place but got this O&M money. Go back, Google has the solution, the detailed white paper on that. Coming to my more or less last slide, exposure management how? बहुत आसान है. एसिड इन्वेंटरी करिए, अटैक सरफेस मैपिंग करते रहिए, VAPT and sandbox of the exposure, not of the devices only. Continuous threat exposure management. My dear friends, remember this abbreviated form, CTEM. It will remain with you for the next 5 to 10 years. Continuous threat exposure management, which includes monitoring, adoption and threat, and intelligence mapping, mitigation. So, who are the solution providers of continuous threat exposure, continuous threat and exposure management? Now, continuous threat exposure management, इसके लिए AT&T for the last 12 years has been using an open source solution called Alien Vault. Go back and please read Alien Vault. Initially, it was, not projected, but very recent, 2 years back, there were many papers which came out, and this open source solution is being lapped up by many. Then there is OSEC, the open source, SIEM, but on OSEC, it has further been, upgraded with Wazoo, WAZUH, Wazoo. So all these are open source, so that OEM friends of mine would not hold me to this thing, ransom. So please go back and start reading about how these solutions you can have. They're all exposure management solutions on cloud. You can actually learn about them, make yourselves qualified enough, and start using them for your own good. Thank you very much. God bless you.